Hello friends, my name is Bahroz and welcome to my channel where I teach you how to achieve career and personal finance success. Now in today's video, I will talk about the most important part of your interview answer. So whenever you are asked an interview question, what is the most important part of your answer? Because your answer has multiple parts and I will talk about what are those parts. But there is one part of the answer which is extremely important, and most of the people I know, almost everyone, gets it wrong. So it's very important for you to know what is that important part and hence be prepared for it. Now this applies to almost any kind of interview question. Could it be behavioral or situational or whatever kind of interview question you get, this particular part is the most important part in your answer. So as for the flow of this video, what I will do is I will reveal what that important part is, how you should go about preparing for it, what is the formula to answer or ace that particular part, and towards the end I will share with you an example or a sample answer for you to understand how you can go about answering that particular part using an example. So make sure you stay tuned till the end of this video. Now before I go to reveal that particular part, I have two asks for you, and this ask is free, which is press the like button and subscribe to the channel. Both of these tasks, one, motivate me and go a long way in supporting my channel so I can produce more content and improve the quality of the content that I put on this channel. So make sure you do extend your support for the content that I'm producing on this channel. Now talking about what is that important part. I know most of you might be thinking, and this is the common answer I get, is that most important part in your answer is the action. Now remember, when you're answering an interview question, you typically need to use a format. And the most common and famous formats are CAR or the STAR model. By the way, I've made a separate video on CAR and STAR model. I will leave the link here and also in the description of this video. What the CAR or the STAR model is, the CAR model stands for context, C context, A for action, R for result, and STAR is situation and task for S and T, which is same as context, and then A for action, R for result. So most commonly when I ask this question to anyone, they go like, yes, the most important part of your answer is the action. So what actions did you took, or what actions were you taking, or the actions you take? Yes, it is the important part, but that is a big umbrella. Action has a lot of things as well in it, and I will explain what elements does action have. But within the action itself, there is an important part, which is how did you take the action? So let me explain. You have a context, which is not that important. It is important, but not the most important part. Then you have action, which is the most important part, but action is broken down into three parts. One is what you did, why you did it, and how you did it. It is the how which is the most important part, and almost everyone misses this angle. What they do is when they are giving an answer, they go just sharing as to what they did, and that's it. And they feel that if they explain or they tell the interviewer what they did for a particular issue or a particular challenge, that is enough for them to convince the interviewer that they are the right candidate. Now let's take an example just for me to illustrate my point. Let's say there was a situation where you had a conflict. So that's the context. You had a conflict and now comes the action. Now the action typically or ideally needs to have three parts: what, why, and how. But for the most part, people just talk about the what. So the what of the action is that I connected with the individual or I listened to the individual. Second action would be I shared with them my concerns. And third would be and we agreed to a solution. These are the whats of the how, what you did. But you didn't talk about why you did it. So I connected with the individual or I listened to the individual, this is the action or the what, in order to understand where are they coming from. This is the why. Why did you connect with the individual is because you wanted to understand where are they coming from. Why are they having a conflict with you? The third piece, which is the most important piece, which everyone misses, is how. How did you go about connecting with the individual? So I set up a one-to-one meeting with the individual and I took them through the flow of the challenge. So historically, every time we've connected in a meeting, we've had a conflict and we disagree. And because of that disagreement, there is some roughness in the team and the team is not happy and the morale is down. And hence I'm sitting with you to understand what is that you have in your mind or where are you coming from. Now this is the how, the process. You have to say the process. Many people just miss the process. They only talk about the actions they took and don't talk about the process at all. While process is the most important piece in the entire answer. And let me tell you why the process is most important piece. Because for the most part, whatever experience you've had in your past won't be repeated in the new organization or in future. There will always be a new challenge. But what the interviewer wants to know is that whether you know the process of solving any challenge. So the process of solving a challenge is that when you connect with an individual, how do you talk to them? What is the process or the flow you follow in order to convince them? So I made use of data to convince them, or I made use of some facts, or I made use of the objectives of the company. So I brought in front of them data, facts, and what are the objectives of the company. This is the how of the answer. Because when you give the how to the interviewer, what you're telling the interviewer is that you know the process of solving any issue. So tomorrow, if you have a conflict with a different individual, you will talk with them about data, about facts, and about the strategy or the objectives of the company. Because this is kind of a universal formula to solve any issue. So you have to give a how to every action. So this is how it works. Let's say when you give your context, that this is a particular context of the issue that happened, the business was not doing well, and because of the business not doing well, I was given the task to understand why the business is not doing well. So then you talk about what you did. So first, what I did was, the first action was I analyzed the data. Now, why did you analyze the data? I analyzed the data because I wanted to start with the facts. What are the facts saying? What does the history say? What does the business performance indicator tell you? That is why I'm doing this. So the what is I analyze data, the why because I wanted to work with the facts. Now the how. They want to know how do you go about analyzing data. You just can't say I analyze data and that's it. That is the answer. No, that is not the answer. You have to explain how did you analyze the data. And then you explain I analyze the data by first collecting the data from different resources, then doing some regression analysis. So I did a regression analysis, then plotted the data on a particular graph to see what is the midpoint and so on and so forth. So whatever your analysis is, just give them few key nuggets from that analysis for them to understand that you know how to run an analysis. Because tomorrow, if there is a situation where business is not doing well, they know that you will not be just the individual who will analyze the data, but also knows how to analyze the data. They want to know whether you know the process or not. Of course, the answer is very bookish. I analyze the data, I analyze the business, I figure out what the issues are. How do you figure out what the problem is? How do you analyze the data? You have to convince the interviewer on all of these angles. One indication that you are not giving the how of the answer is when the interviewer starts to ask probing questions. So let's say you're giving an example from the past and you just give a very one-line answer as to what you did, which is the what. I analyze data and that's it. But then they will stop you there and they'll say, okay, can you tell me more? How did you go about analyzing data? Or can you tell me more about this or that and this and that? The idea is when they start to probe you more, it means that you are not giving them enough details and they want more details. So give them more details. One issue that I've seen is, for the most part, what people tell me is they fear that they will overrun the time. The interview is typically 1 hour. And for the most part, in an interview, you are asked around 5 to let's say around 8 questions. Let's say you are asked 8 questions. You can easily take 5 minutes for each of the questions, which makes it 40 minutes. Now you still have 20 minutes buffer, which means you can take around 6 to 7 minutes to answer each question. So anything between 5 to 7 or even 8, if it's a really good answer, it is okay to take that time. But you have to give the details. If you don't give the details, if you don't give how did you take that particular action, and you just tell them what action you took, it is not enough. This is a mistake that I've seen people repeating many times. And the reason I know this is because I've taken multiple interviews and I coach a lot of people as well on how to give interviews. By the way, if you are someone who's interested in getting a one-to-one coaching by me on how to prepare for an interview, you can book a slot with me. I will leave the link in the description of this video. And if you want to know exactly what do I cover in that slot, I will leave a recorded session that I had with one of my followers. here and you can check it out as to what to expect from the session. But coming back to the issue, make sure that yes, the action piece is important, but within the action, the most important piece is the how. You talk about the what, why, and then how. Now, as I said in the beginning that I will also give you an example. So let me take the same example where we talk about business not doing well. So certain business started to not do well, or we started to lose share in a particular market to competition. This is the context. Now the actions I took was, first I set out to analyze the historical data. The reason I wanted to analyze the historical data is to see that when we were doing good, when we were winning share, what were the things which we were doing right? And now what are the things that have changed versus that time? This is the why. How did I do it? I collected data from different sources on share, on price, on other display, merchandising, all key relevant factors. I collected all the data and then I correlated that data with the share to see that which one has the most impact on the share decline. And then based on that extrapolation and that regression or correlation, I figured out that the most correlation is with the pricing. So this is the entire how. For the action, data analyzed, and then you explain the how. Next, this is action number 2. I took expert opinion because I just didn't want it to be coming from me. I also wanted to know what others think of this particular issue. So I connected with now this is the how, with the marketing head of the business, with the sales head of the business. And I took them through the issue and through my hypothesis to understand what is their point of view. And they gave me their thoughts as to what is going on in the field, what is going on with the marketing campaigns, how are we doing on the marketing campaigns, are they delivering their objective or not, are we doing good with the customers or in the sales as well. Again, this is the how of the second action, and the second action was get expert opinion. Third is that we together with the team, I came up with 3 solutions. This is the what. How did I come up with 3 solutions, or maybe expanding on the 3 solutions, is that based on the issue, which was pricing, I came up with 3 different scenarios. One could be a price down, the other one could be a promotion and incentive, or third could be do nothing. And then I did a sensitivity analysis for each one of them. If we do nothing, what are the pros and cons? If we do a promotion, what are the pros and cons? If we take a price down, what are the pros and cons? These are the hows. So you have to explain the how as well. So the what, the why, the how of every action. And typically I say you don't need to have more than 3 actions. If you have like 3 actions, like I analyzed data, I connected with the experts, and I did a sensitivity analysis, that is good enough. But because you're expanding, it is better to stick to 3 actions or maybe 4 and expand on them versus giving a laundry list of actions and not expanding on them. And when I say expanding, I mean sharing the how of your action. Hopefully guys, this video was helpful for you to now realize that in reality, what is the most important part of your answer, which is the how of the action you are taking, because the interviewer wants to know that whether you know the process or not, and can you replicate the process when something happens in the organization that you are joining. Thank you for watching this video. In case you found this video helpful, I'm sure you'll find another video very useful on my channel where I talk about how you can go about introducing yourself in an interview. You can check it out here. Other than that, there is another video where I talk about reverse interview questions. That is when the interviewer asks you, tell me if you have any questions for me. You can check out that video here. Thank you.